Welcome, welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing? Today, today's stream, we're going to do some reaction videos and just chill out today. So, if it's your first time being here, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. And right now, we're just jamming out. And that was my song Cryogenic, a 2022 release. And the first song was also a 2022 release. It's called Wonderland. So these are very old tracks. I say very old, it's only 2 years old, but you can tell by the mixing it's not the best. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and just get right to it. So like I said, today we're going to do some reactions to some videos. Some of them are old and some of them are recently new. So uh I one thing that I love to or one thing that I'm fascinated about is space. I love space. Just the way how um unorthodox space is, just how very the mechanics and the laws of physics of space just does not correlate to anything that we are known here on Earth. And it's always been a fascination of mine because it's just a big mystery aside from like our oceans or something like that. It's a huge mystery of like what's out there. And, you know, unfortunately in our lifetime, we probably will never see beyond the horizons of what, you know, that lies on our planet. Like we can go as far as the moon or whatever, but we won't really get a chance to really see in real time all that's out there. So it's like this huge mystery, the way how time works and how certain phenomena can rip through space and time, like black holes or wormholes or even just supernovas. Everything in that aspect that gets my fascination going. Hence, like why sometimes in my music I like to go a little bit more space themed, something that's like more mysterious and very out of bound from what is familiar. And I think that's where the experimentation of sound design really comes from, is to try to make sounds that sounds not of Earth. So yeah. And the reason why I'm mentioning space is because we have two videos that are space themed like videos. And then we have another video that Marquez Brownlee dropped yesterday about the Nothing Phone 3A and 3A Pro. I'm assuming, yeah. And we're about to react to that video, and then the two space videos. This video is by Emily Calan Cal Calandrelli. Calandrelli. I hope I'm saying her name right. But this she would be the 100th female to go to space, and it's her video titled "My Blue Origin Flight to Space." This video came out 3 weeks ago, so a little late to the party, I know. So we're going to react to that one, and then the last video we're going to react to is by the channel What If, which is a video that came out 2 months ago. I completely missed this one, but this one is titled "What Would Dying on Every Planet Be Like?" So based off the title, I think the video is going to display on every planet in our solar system what would dying would feel like or be like by by a theory of what it's like, or maybe based off of the research or data that's been collected thus far. So we're going to do these in order from the oldest to the latest video. So because that one is 2 months old, we're going to react to that one first. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. That's just my phone. I have like a thing. So let's just full screen this and just keep it 4K because that's all we want to do all day. Sorry, that's the outro. Wrong slide. All right. It looks like we have some chapters here. So this is Venus. I think it's going in order. I'm not too sure. Anyway, let's get straight to it.
If you landed on Venus, this hot planet would crush you like a plastic bottle. It would be painful, but don't worry, it would only last 5 seconds. The longest 5 seconds of your life. And just wait till you see what happens on Mars. It's unsettling. Venus has an extremely dense atmosphere, and with that dense atmosphere comes crushing pressure. Literally, it would crush you. The Venusian atmospheric pressure is 92 times higher than the pressure you experience on Earth. It would only take a millisecond before it started crumpling your spacesuit. After 1 second, your suit's integrity would be compromised. You'd be trapped in the imploding spacesuit with no way out. And that's when your body would begin to collapse. In the next 2 seconds, your skin and muscles would compress, your blood vessels would pop, your organs would fail. Finally, you'd lose consciousness, and just like that, you'd be gone. Venus looks like a beautiful place, but it's deadly. And being crushed by extreme pressure is just one of the many ways you'd die here. Remember the dense Venusian atmosphere? Well, not only does it create crushing pressure, but it also generates the greenhouse effect. Yeah, Venus is hot, instantly boiling your insides kind of hot. Even if you could somehow withstand all that bone-crushing pressure, the heat would get you.
Oh yeah, this feels hot, like being toasted. Like bread being toasted. You guys know what toast is.
Warning, internal temperature rising.
The surface temperature on Venus reaches 465 degrees Celsius. That's almost as hot as the lava coming out of Earth's volcanoes. You'd be feeling the effect of this intense heat within seconds. After 1 minute, your internal temperature would start rising. Cue heat exhaustion.
What if, Guy, I don't feel so good.
Body temperature, 40 degrees Celsius and rising.
At this point, you'd experience nausea, fatigue, and extreme sweating. Your internal organs would start to overheat.
It's getting dark. It's getting dark.
After 10 minutes, you'd lose consciousness. Now, you'd just have minutes left before suffering brain damage and complete cardiac arrest. On this planet, heat stroke is no joke.
Bars.
Nothing's a joke here, really. The Venusian air is unbreathable. It's made up of 96.5% carbon dioxide and 3.5% nitrogen, which means taking just one breath of this atmosphere would suffocate you. And if that's not enough, Venus's sulfuric rain would corrode your spacesuit and burn your skin. As far as the survival situation on Venus goes, it's a 1 out of 10. Would not recommend. Now this is Mercury.
The closest planet to the sun, like I haven't just suffered a massive heat incineration already? Come on, what if, Guy?
Well, Mercury has a little secret. It's actually extremely freezing. At least on the night side.
Surface temperature, minus 180 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. I knew that. Everybody knows that.
Could you imagine, like, before we get to Mercury, like Venus, I couldn't imagine within seconds or minutes suffering in like immense atmospheric pressure, let alone extreme heat. So, first of all, I have to say, like, I love the What If channel because their style of video is always captivating to me and it keeps me engaged. But so far, so good.
And here, I'll let you in on a little secret. What If Explorers Club on Patreon is on a roll.
Oh no, this is an ad.
The sun's heat and keep it close to the planet during the long Mercurian nights. Even though Mercury is just 58 million kilometers from the sun, as soon as night hits, it cools down rapidly. When you first land, you'll be okay. You could walk around and explore the planet.
Yeah, Rico, there's like a little numbness in my fingers. Is that normal?
Numbness in the extremities indicates the early stages of hypothermia.
Nah, I'm okay. It's like minus 180 degrees here, you know? Of course it's a little chilly.
A little is crazy.
What a shocker.
Hypothermia would take a little time to kick in. It starts with a tingling feeling in your fingers, then suddenly you begin to shiver.
Yeah, I don't feel any shivers. Okay. Maybe I feel a few shivers, but it's not that bad.
Warning, your body temperature has dropped to 35 degrees Celsius.
That's 3 degrees lower than normal.
My fingers.
After 10 minutes in this extreme cold, you'd barely be able to move.
Warning, core body temperature at 32 degrees Celsius. Return to the spaceship immediately.
Your muscles would feel stiff.
If he
You'd feel
could.
confused and cold.
There was at least 102 Dalmatians.
You'd feel extremely disoriented. Everything would slow down for you. But you wouldn't die. Not yet.
Warning, core body temperature now 28 degrees Celsius.
Even now, you'd still be alive. You could barely function, but you're alive. It would take about 60 minutes for Mercury's dark side to kill you.
60
Slow,
minutes?
cold, and painful.
A whole
but,
hour?
hey, at least you get
Listen.
to see some of Mercury's views before you collapsed from the extreme cold.
60 minutes is crazy. A whole hour before Mercury's freezing temperatures will kill you? Bro, I would take that whole hour to crawl myself back into that ship. Ain't no way. This man's resting. Look at him. We done seen him die 3 times already.
I give Mercury's night side a 3 out of 10. But Mercury has a day side too, and it's burning hot. The temperature here hits 427 degrees Celsius,
There's no
just
way.
slightly cooler than the temperature on Venus. And it's not the intense heat that would kill you, it's extreme radiation too. You'd feel all of it the moment you stepped out of your spaceship. Your body would start overheating. If you didn't have the protection of your spacesuit, your skin would immediately get radiation burns.
My hands! My hands are burning! Ah!
It wouldn't be pretty. All that radiation would quickly damage your DNA. It takes 1/1000th of a second to kick off that process. Within the next hour, your cells would mutate and die. So make sure to wear a spacesuit, no matter how hot it feels.
Danger. Core body temperature increased to 39 degrees Celsius.
After 5 minutes of these burning conditions, you'd begin to feel the effects of hyperthermia. If your suit's cooling system were to fail, you'd experience an amount of heat you've never felt in your life.
God, it burns! My hands! Oh, it's like they're on fire! Oh, it's exactly like they're on fire!
This sudden overheating would make you nauseous. After 10 minutes, you'd be like a piece of toast. Your body temperature would hit 42 degrees Celsius, and if you've ever had a fever like that, you'd know at this point, you'd be in delirium.
I swear, there were 103 Dalmatians. Everywhere! Dalmatians everywhere!
Exactly like that.
Rico, are you a Dalmatian?
Your muscles would become weak, and your organs would start to shut down. Now you'd be unconscious, in the middle of having heat stroke and being blasted by radiation. At this point, you wouldn't have long. Hot side of Mercury rates a 2 out of 10 from me.
Mars.
All right, let's look at Mars. The red planet sounds a lot more promising. Where else in the solar system would you want to establish a human base? Well, not so fast. Mars sits just outside the sun's habitable zone. It doesn't have water or a magnetosphere. Its atmosphere is incredibly thin. It's not a place you could settle into comfortably.
What do you mean? Mars is great.
That is, until you try to breathe on it. On Mars, the air is mostly made up of carbon dioxide. You'd have to keep your spacesuit on at all times, because if you didn't, you'd die.
Spacesuit breach detected.
It only takes a minor suit malfunction for Mars to kill you. The first few seconds of inhaling the air on Mars would feel confusing.
What's confusing about this? I'm dying!
You'd be gasping for oxygen and starting to breathe more rapidly. At the same time, your breached spacesuit would start to decompress, and that would be truly awful. The atmospheric pressure on Mars is only 0.6% of what you have on Earth. As soon as your
Slow.
spacesuit gave in, all the pressure inside it, the pressure keeping you alive, would escape.
Warning. Danger of embolism. Warning.
Ebulism is what happens next. As your suit's pressure suddenly dropped, your body would experience painful, blood-boiling conditions. You see, your blood and other bodily fluids have gases inside them. Exposed to the low-pressure environment on Mars, these gases would boil. Your skin would swell and puff up. After about 7 minutes, you'd be dead. This is going to be pretty graphic. Somebody put a warning on the screen. Mars would give you hope, and then gruesomely kill you the first chance it got. I'd seriously reconsider coming here, because even if you made absolutely sure that your spacesuit was safe and wouldn't suffer a life-ending breach, Mars will find another way to wipe you off its face. And that other way would be dust storms. Dust storms on Mars are wild. They can cover the entire planet, and they last for weeks or even months.
Kissy crap in here.
It's not that those storms are strong, they're not, but the dust particles are so fine that they get into your spacesuit easily and scratch it from the inside.
Oh man, what? Matt Damon can do this, so can I. Come on!
These fine particles
Martian
would clog
reference.
your air filters and do all kinds of damage to your equipment, from cutting off your life support systems to knocking out your heat regulation.
Warning. 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 Oxygen system failure.
Well, that's Mars for you. I give it a 6 out of 10 just for the epicness of this whole death situation. Oh, and for giving you a chance to live here. Just maybe not for too long.
I'd give Mars a 0.
There's one more rocky planet lurking on the outskirts of the solar system. Sorry, hold on. My editor is saying it's actually not a planet, it's a dwarf planet.
Pluto.
Anyway, Pluto will be the last deadly place to visit on this list, right after the giants. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and as a gas giant, it has a number of ways to kill you.
No kidding.
Being twice as massive as all the other planets in the solar system combined, Jupiter has astronomical pressure. This planet is basically a gigantic ball of hydrogen and helium. It doesn't have a solid surface you could step on. You'd fall all the way through its atmosphere, although it wouldn't be that long of a fall for you.
Let me guess. Suffocating, extreme pressure. What else is new?
Lightning. Yeah, that's right. Jupiter is home to some of the most violent lightning storms around.
Okay, well that's great, but I don't see any here.
Well, of course not. In the upper atmosphere, the weather is not as dramatic. The atmospheric pressure here is only 1/10 of the pressure we feel on Earth.
Capsule systems are stable.
Some 50 kilometers below Jupiter's clouds, you'd feel serious turbulence. Wind here would be strong, reaching up to 360 kilometers per hour.
Static buildup detected in the atmosphere.
As these chaotic winds violently battered you through the storm clouds, the lightning bolts would strike too close for comfort. The atmosphere around you would be highly charged. And then, one of these bolts would strike the capsule head on. This massive lightning would release enough energy to power a city or two. But for your capsule, it would be game over. The electrical systems would fail, the oxygen supply would fail, and the temperature inside the capsule would drop significantly. You'd now be trapped inside a powerless, leaking capsule surrounded by a deadly storm. I give Jupiter a 5 out of 10. Could recommend.
5 out of 10 is crazy.
This gas giant may not be as large as Jupiter, but it's definitely the most majestic. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system, and just like Jupiter, it's a gas giant made up of hydrogen and helium with no solid surface. Deep down in its clouds, the unimaginable pressure of this world turns hydrogen into liquid metal. And intense storms have winds raging at 1,800 kilometers per hour. It's windy, it's hot, it's dangerous. And you might die before you even enter Saturn's atmosphere. What makes Saturn the most marvelous planet in this planetary hood is also what makes it dangerous on approach. Saturn's rings.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see them all right.
These rings are made up of billions of small chunks of ice and rock, ranging from grains of dust to icy chunks the size of a house. Saturn has had its rings for a few 100 million years, and it'll have them for the next few 100 million years until these icy rocks rain down on the gas giant. The thing is, these rings move extremely fast, like 70,000 kilometers per hour fast. If you're not careful, your ship might just crash into them. Saturn gets an 8 out of 10. Uranus is a beautiful, stormy, fart-smelling, deadly ice giant. It has the coldest atmosphere of all the planets in the solar system. And it can kill you in many ways.
Yes.
One way to go on Uranus would be to suffocate in its gases.
Oh, not the fart gases! Oh.
Close enough. 2% of the Uranian atmosphere is methane, a gas that's toxic to humans. Now, 2% might not sound like a whole lot, but it's concentrated enough to kill you within minutes. Maybe Uranian high-speed particles moving at 900 kilometers per hour eroded your suit. Or extreme temperatures of minus 224 degrees Celsius made it brittle and caused it to crack. Or hydrogen and methane had a chemical reaction with your suit materials, corroding them. On Uranus, anything could cause a breach, and even the smallest breach would lead to toxic methane exposure. But Uranus has other surprising ways to off you, like turning you into a human-sized diamond. You'd have to survive the trip deeper into Uranus to be turned into a diamond, all the way to some 10,000 kilometers below its cloud tops. That's where the pressure is so intense and the temperature is so high that carbon atoms crystallize into diamonds. About 18% of the human body is carbon, so you'd be about to undergo the most precious change of your lifetime. I'd give Uranus a 10 out of 10. Epic, sparkling, with a bit of fun. Great planet to perish on. Now, this is the last ice giant in the solar system,
Neptune.
and the most distant planet from the Sun, Neptune.
Huh. Neptune? It looks a lot like Uranus.
It's true. Neptune has a similar mass and size as Uranus, and it's even made up of some of the same materials like hydrogen, helium, iced ammonia, methane, and water. Only Neptune has one thing Uranus does not.
Extreme winds detected.
Neptune has the fastest winds in the entire solar system. These gusts reach speeds of 2,100 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
They're not just winds, they're supersonic winds.
Hey, nobody told me that we were filming a Top Gun sequel in here, okay?
It gets worse, too. Not only are these winds extremely fast, but they're also turbulent. They create swirling vortices that would throw your spaceship in different directions. Intense atmospheric pressure, winds, and methane ice would start ripping the ship apart. But that's not all. If you got caught in the Neptunian supersonic vortex, the winds would violently spin the ship, and this centrifugal force would exert some serious G-forces. As Neptune's winds accelerated your ship to about 10 Gs, everything inside your body would feel heavy. That would be your organs getting compressed inside your body. Your blood would pool around your legs and cause oxygen deprivation to your brain. You'd lose consciousness pretty quickly. It would only take about 5 minutes for the ship and your body to lose their structural integrity completely and disintegrate into the Neptunian atmosphere. Well, that was pretty violent. I give Neptune a 2 out of 10.
Well, I know you guys like Pluto, so since you asked so nicely, I thought I'd give you a little treat and show you what it's like here.
Pluto isn't exactly a planet. It's a dwarf planet on the outskirts of the solar system. It's smaller than Earth's moon, but even this tiny rock has ways to kill you.
It's a little cold in here, you feel that?
Temperature reading minus 239 degrees Celsius.
Pluto is even further away from the sun than Neptune, so it barely gets any of the sun's energy. One small malfunction in your spacesuit insulation, and you'd freeze to death. You'd feel the frostbite setting in after just 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds later, your bodily fluids would start turning into icicles, and you'd get extreme hypothermia as an unpleasant bonus that you didn't ask for. After 2 minutes, your body temperature would drop below 30 degrees Celsius, which is the exact moment when you'd lose consciousness. After 3 minutes, your body would freeze and your organs would fail. You'd become one with Pluto's frozen landscape. Quick and almost painless. That's a 7 out of 10 for Pluto.
It, did hurt.
Well, that's it for this solar system's planets. Where should we send Chase to where should we send Chase to explore next? Maybe we'll ship him all the way to an exoplanet outside of our planetary corner. But that's a story for another What If. Support us on Patreon and help us send...
Alrighty. Cool. So we will not be traveling to space anytime soon. Yeah, we can we're good on that. All right. The next video is Emily Calandrelli. Ca- Calandrelli. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not too sure. But the video is my Blue Origin um flight to space. So let's see what this looks like.
5, 4, command engine start. 2, 1, ignition.
Back in November, I became the 100th woman to fly to space. Going to space has been something that I've dreamed about and worked toward for 2 decades. And I want you to join me as I prepare for and embark on my trip to the stars. 3 days before our launch, we arrive in Texas.
Good old Texas.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Texas.
Who set up the camera? Who set up the camera? Somebody lying.
Has always played an important role in space exploration, but we're not headed to NASA. We're headed to the middle of the West Texas desert to Blue Origin Launch Site 1, where they launch and land astronauts in a rocket of their own design. Unlike the rockets used by Neil Armstrong, Sally Ride, and Mae Jemison, to name a few, the rocket we'll be flying in is fully autonomous and 99% reusable. This means there are no spacecraft pilots on board, and the entire rocket will be autonomously launched into space 62 miles above the planet and autonomously landed back down on Earth. We're flying in the New Shepard rocket, named after the first American in space, Alan Shepard, who flew a similar flight trajectory as our flight. My launch will be the 28th New Shepard flight overall. That's why we're the NS-28 mission. The 9th human flight for Blue Origin, and finally the 11th launch of this exact rocket. As soon as we arrive in the astronaut village, we meet the crew that we'll be flying with. And then it was time to settle in our individual Airstreams to relax and sleep before the start of our busy training schedule. We each get our own little Airstream. This is the bathroom. We have our little living area here. A kitchen. There's Tommy. And then we have our bedroom here. You can see human for size. I've taped some of my family and friends' pictures here. I have the 99 female astronauts who came before me. There is one spot left to fill, which I plan to fill on Friday. As the host of my show, Exploration Outer Space, I'd actually met and interviewed many of these women. And for the last 10 years of producing my show, I often wondered if I would ever get to see what they saw. In a few days, I'd get my chance. Good morning.
If I ever have the opportunity to go to space, I would take it. I want to see with my own 2 eyes, like the feeling you get when you look down back at your home planet. That's kind of weird to say, but from the perspective of those who are in space, they're looking down on their planet. I want to see Earth for the first time and see what it really looks like. Aside from all the CGI models that we've seen in movies and Google Images, like I really want to see the true blue planet in its full form and what it looks like. That's incredible.
From the astronaut village, I'm on my way to the first day of astronaut training.
Good morning, astronauts! Welcome to the Astronaut Training Center! Woohoo!
Yay! The last time I was here, I was interviewing other astronauts. And now, my name is on the door. It was the most emotional feeling seeing my name stitched into that blue suit. Something I dreamt about for a long time. With my suit on and my adrenaline pumping, I headed to the next step of training. This is a simulator, so this is a mock-up, a one-to-one mock-up of the New Shepard capsule. So we can go in and get a feel for it. We can look out the windows, we can feel all the handholds and sit in the seats and get a feel for what it might be like when we're up in space. Right now, we are getting fitted, custom fitted for our own astronaut seats. These must fit perfectly because in an emergency scenario, the capsule can be ejected away from the rocket so quickly that your body will experience 15 G-forces, which wouldn't feel great if your seat wasn't perfectly positioned beneath you. We have a 5-point harness in there, and so we're going to practice getting in and out of that harness because the few minutes of weightlessness that we have in space at Apogee are so precious, and we do not want to be fiddling with our 5-point harness. As an aerospace engineer with 4 degrees in technology and engineering, it was really important to me to have science be part of my mission.
These are my science seeds!
I'm working with an organization called Fast Plants to fly seeds with me to understand how spaceflight affects plant growth on a microscopic level. In addition to my own experiment, I'll be wearing a bio button. Now, this will be taking my vitals throughout the duration of training and our spaceflight, and will be part of a cohort of over 20 astronauts, both suborbital and orbital astronauts, to understand the science behind what spaceflight does to the human body. Once my spacesuit was fitted, harness mastered, seat customized, and bio button in position, the team and I got to decorate postcards that would be flown in space. And if anyone here would like to have their own postcards flown in space, you have to check out Club for the Future's Postcards to Space program. After a long day, it was back to the astronaut village to rest up for our last day of training. It is the end of day 2 here at the astronaut village. Before I got here, I was a little bit nervous. I still had some uncertainties about what would happen if there was an emergency. But now that we've gone through training, I can put those nerves aside and just focus on being really freaking amped to go. Like now I'm really excited. I've cried like 4 times today. It's crazy to think that tomorrow's our last day of training and then the launch. On our last day of training, we headed to the launch pad to see where we'd be taking off from the following day, and then headed over to see our rocket before it was rolled out to the launch pad. Finally, we ended our day with a few last mission scenarios back in our simulator. This is our space capsule. Every passenger has their own window. I am in seat number 6. This is one of the emergency seats. It's like the emergency exit on an airplane. We are responsible for the fire suppression system. So if we were to see the fire indicator here, I would be responsible for pressing this button. And then we have our masks here in case for any reason we need to don a mask. One of the coolest parts of this rocket is that it is reusable, which means Blue Origin brings back both the booster and the capsule, making it cheaper and less wasteful. Traditionally, rockets were thrown away after every launch, but with reusable rockets, you fly it, you land it, you make sure it's okay, and then you launch it again and again and again. Per Blue Origin tradition, we ended our training with a nominal or normal mission scenario. Got a quick pep talk from our incredible trainer, Sarah Knights, and then headed back to the astronaut village to rest up before the big day. I use this time to decompress in my Airstream and read letters that my parents, my brother, and my husband each wrote for me to read the night before my launch. The letter from my dad was especially meaningful. My dad grew up in poverty. He was the youngest of 4 siblings to a single mom. They didn't have a car or a home, and my dad worked since he was 11 years old to build a life for himself. He was the first person in his family to graduate from college, and so his college ring is one of his most prized possessions. And so, when I learned I was flying to space, I asked him a question. So I just wanted to ask you if it would be okay if I brought your college ring, because I know that your college ring means a lot to you, if I could bring that to space with me when I fly.
Absolutely.
I don't need it.
An honor. That would be a thrill.
Before I could go to sleep, I had one last thing to do. I wanted to bring as many of you all on my flight as possible, and so I asked you to send me your dreams, and I put them all on this flash drive.
Okay, I'm putting all the wishes on the flash drive. 9,557 wishes. Look at these. Look how absolutely sweet and inspiring and just incredible.
And to make things even better, our Wishes to the Stars project raised over $30,000 for kids in foster care in West Virginia.
And now this guy is going in my flight suit, and I'm gonna launch your wishes to the stars tomorrow.
And then it was here, L-0, launch day. The morning of the launch, we get to say one final goodbye to our family and friends before getting suited up. For me, the most meaningful goodbyes were to my kids, Rose, who's 5, and Lincoln, who's 2. These goodbyes were a little harder because I wasn't just risking my life, I was risking their mommy's life, a risk I didn't take lightly. But I also wanted to show them that our dreams are worth fighting for. Dreams that do not simply go away once you become a mother, once you become a parent. Moms were all once little girls with big dreams after all. And I knew that this little girl and so many others who follow my work were watching me today and hopefully thinking, one day, that will be me. We packed into the cars and drove past our family on the way to the launch pad. As we drove past our family and friends, I locked eyes with my daughter. I pointed at her and I said, I love you, I love you. My son is too young to remember this day, but I wanted my daughter to remember that the last thing mommy did before getting on that rocket was tell her she loves her. With that last goodbye, it was time to secure my dream.
I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. This is the extra hydrogen burning off. We have liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen fueling this rocket, but hydrogen is a very tiny molecule, so it leaks quite easily. And so to control those leaks in a safe way, they burn it off. Here we go. Let's go to space.
Yeah, go to proceed. T-10, go to proceed. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition!
New Shepard has cleared the tower and is heading to space.
Guys, this is amazing.
As I watched the earth fall below me, I thought of all of my family and friends who helped get me here, and the words from my dad's letter were replaying in my head.
When you board the New Shepard capsule, you won't just be carrying my ring into the stars. You'll also be carrying my dreams, my heart, and all my love with you. I love you, Dad.
Oh, wow, look at the dark.
Stand by, Nico.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Whoa.
Stand by separation. Stand by separation.
Oh, my God. Oh, there we go.
Take your time, guys. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
That's cool. Oh, they got disconnected.
Camera 5. Wow, see you guys. Wow. Rosie, it's Mommy from space. I love you. Lincoln, it's Mommy from space. I love you. Mom and Dad, you're the reason I'm here. I love you so much. You guys, I told you I'd bring your wishes to the stars, as promised. I love you all. I hope all your dreams come true. That's our planet. Oh my god, that's space. We're in space right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Oh, this is beautiful. Our planet. Reach. Foot. In. Okay. 6, 6, and 5, and buckle. We did it. Oh, the moon. I see the moon. In about 20 seconds, the drogues are going to deploy. That's going to slow us down a little bit more. You can hear the thrusters thrusting. That's stabilizing our capsule as we descend back down to Earth. The capsule.
Stand by drogues.
Here come the drogues. Here we go. Whoa! Drogues deployed. There we go.
Stand by main. Stand by main.
Amazing. Here we go. Yes!
That's cool.
There go our drones! I'm the 100th woman in space!
Flying to space was something I had dreamed about and worked toward for 2 decades, and it was everything I hoped it would be and so much more. I'm so grateful to my husband for being an equal partner in adventure, making it possible for both of us to have a family and a career. To my mom and dad, who became my inner voice telling me that all of this was possible. To my kids for always being the best part of my life. To everyone at Blue Origin who built this marvel of human spaceflight. And finally, to all of you. I hope you always
Stay curious and
keep exploring!
Wow. That's incredible. See, I want to go to space, man. I want to see stuff, man. I want to see some stuff, man. Sometimes Earth be boring, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see some stuff. Okay. So, we have one last video, and then I think we're going to go into Logic, and we're just going to mess around with some sound design, and see where that takes us. So, this one is Marquez Brownlee. He dropped this video yesterday. The Nothing Phone 3A and 3A Pro now do a flagship titled. So let's go ahead and see what the Nothing phone is all about.
You know, there is something kind of refreshing about a budget phone from a company that doesn't have a bunch of more expensive phones in their lineup to protect. So this is the new Nothing Phone 3A, which starts at $379, and the Phone 3A Pro, which is $459.
Wow. That's a real budget phone.
The naming is a bit confusing, but all you really need to know is both of these phones do a shockingly good job of feeling like $1,000 flagship phones, with just a few small asterisks. The Pro phone, for those wondering, is basically the same as the 3A, but just with a better camera system. We'll get to that in a minute. But I feel like I have no choice but to start with the way this phone looks, because there's still nothing that looks quite like a Nothing phone, and that is still true. I mean, look at this blue. This blue is sick. It's still got the split design with the glyphs at the top around the cameras, but you know, they've tweaked a few things too. They've moved some screws around, changed up some of the shapes and the details. I think this is fire, to be honest. Still got that little red square too. The 3A Pro is similar, but basically a monochrome version, and then with a way bigger camera cliff, like a camera plateau. Now, some people were already ragging on their camera design because it already leaked everywhere, so we've seen it. And to be fair, it's definitely unconventional and not symmetrical at all, but I still think it's nice. The gigantic bump even becomes a nice place to rest my index finger when I'm holding the phone. So if the goal is still to be the budget phone with an interesting aesthetic or to just be a unique looking phone in general, I think mission accomplished. Like, find me a more interesting phone design out there right now. I'll wait. Exactly. So once it comes to using this phone, like I said, it is impressive how close this $379 phone gets to feeling like $1,000 flagship. Like, I feel like I can see a lot of Nothing's growing maturity here too. You know, they're a little bit bigger of a company now. They can afford to get more premium parts and from better suppliers, and it's paying off with a bunch of little improvements that stack up to feel really nice. Like this phone 3A has a glass back now instead of the plastic from before. It's also now IP64 rated instead of IP54. It even has a much brighter AMOLED display now that gets up to 800 nits normally, but up to 3,000 nits peak for HDR, which is one of the highest numbers I've ever seen on paper. But forget the numbers though. This just, like I said, feels like a flagship. It's an enormous phone, first of all, even bigger again than the 2A. It's now a 6.77 inch jumbo-sized display with even bezels all the way around. It's a high refresh rate. It just feels like other flagships do. Now, yes, it's not quite as bright as the actual Ultra phones, and yes, the optical fingerprint reader under the display is a little slow sometimes, but those are small prices to pay when you're reminded of, well, the price you're paying. And then they are back to a Qualcomm chip again on this phone from a MediaTek chip last generation. So it is a Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 chip with 12 gigs of RAM. Now, some budget phones are trying to be the spec monster on paper for the price. This phone's not trying to do that. It is a lot of RAM, but that's not what this is. I think this is an appropriate mid-range chip for this phone, especially because whatever they're doing with their software is super impressive, and it really elevates the value of the thing. Like, this budget phone feels as quick and smooth most of the time as the spec monsters. So hey, shout out specifically to Nothing's software team. This is running Nothing OS 3.1 on top of Android 15. They do up to 6 years of software updates with these phones, and so many things, like these little animations, things like swiping down the notification bar or expanding a folder from the home screen, or even swiping between recent apps. So many of these little animations have been optimized to feel super smooth every time, and you can feel it. Now, it's not immune to hiccups. Like, you sometimes feel the mask slip off a little bit and you're moving through some heavy apps or you're gaming for a while. And the stuff that's stressful on the GPU, you can absolutely find a way to get this phone stuttering a little bit, but I cannot be mad at the performance of this phone. Despite it not being a spec monster, it is so smooth. And I like a lot of features they've been adding to Nothing OS too. The lock screen customization is yet another one that's taken obviously a big cue from iOS, but you can see now you can long press and dive in and mess with the clock and drop in a few.
Even if the lock screen customization is heavily inspired by the iOS lock screen customization, they still managed to make it their own kind of aesthetic still. So it still feels like, in their way, shape, or form, their own customization, and gives it that kind of nothingness, pun intended, feel to it. So this is the Nothing phones have such a beautiful look to them. And just even from the software, although the software looks pretty similar because it is a Android software, but it still there is some things about the software that just gives the Nothing phone its unique look. Like, even from I think I saw from, let me see, like the text on the phone, if I can find it. Like, look, like, you have like the text, they're normal, like, Nothing text. I don't know what the text font is really called, but they got their own font, like, right here. So I mean, this is something that's just interesting. Oh, here it goes again. I mean, that's like default, but still. So yeah, like it's such a simple phone and really, really cheap, like 300 something to 400 something dollars for a regular and a pro, while still getting somewhat of a top tier um software, hardware. I mean, you really can't beat that. I mean, a few sacrifices here and there, I mean, you can honestly live without. Most people who get like flagship phones, I'd guarantee you like 90% of whatever that's new on the phone or whatever that isn't new on the phone, people don't even use anyway. Like most people, unless you're like a younger person who cares about camera quality, or if you're a content creator, then yeah, you'll probably care about like camera quality and stuff like that, video quality, all that stuff. But I mean, even just the small gestures on the flagship phones nowadays, they're they're just most of the times not being used at all. Like for instance, like on iOS, you have like in your iMessage, you have animojis. I highly doubt people use animojis. And I'm pretty sure people use stickers, but maybe not to the fullest extent. Or even like the Apple Intelligence creating your own emoji AI thing. I highly doubt people are using that. Um Even like the small things, like Apple for the longest time now uh decided to create the swiping effect on the keyboard, so you can swipe what you're typing instead of actually typing it. I feel like most Apple users aren't even utilizing that. I think they're just typing away. I feel like if you grow up with a Samsung and you're used to the swiping situation, then you'd probably utilize that more than just texting if it's just something that you're just used to. But yeah, stuff like that. Um, Most people probably aren't going to really use that much. Even down to even down to like widgets. Like there are some people. Now, don't get me wrong, widgets for people who are Samsung users or Androids. I say Samsung. Android users altogether are no stranger to widgets. Apple had literally in recent years decided to finally add widgets, but they're for the most part, I mean, they're cool, but I feel like people don't really pay attention to widgets. They'll just like arrange them the first time they get their phones, and then they kind of stay in that arrangement the entire time they have their phone. Like they will never switch it out. I don't even have I don't even think I have, yeah, widgets on my home screen. I don't even have that on my phone. So, because it's just kind of like it kind of takes away the feeling of Apple, because Apple's not really known for their widgets. Before they added it, it was just they had a unique look to their home screen. So, but I digress. What I'm trying to say is that the Nothing, I don't know what the company's called, it's like the Nothing Company, or I don't know what they're called, but the company that makes the Nothing phones, they kind of broke the mold a little bit by creating such a unique design, software wise and hardware wise. I mean, just the look of the phone itself, it's something that is truly an aesthetic that's like doesn't look like nothing else. Like, Apple and Samsung will always copy each other in terms of software and hardware design, no matter what they do. So, Google Pixel phones, like Pixel phones, kind of stay in their own lane too, even in their software as well. So they kind of have their own unique structure. The OnePlus phones, stay in their own unique lane. Software, maybe not, but at least the hardware and the look of the phone will have its own uniqueness. Uh, yeah, and other phones that are like it. So yeah, the Nothing phones, they're in the unique category as well. If I didn't have an Apple, I would probably will have if I had to pick between phones, if it wasn't Apple, it would probably be between a Pixel, a Nothing, and a Samsung. One of those three. Anyway.
And dive in and mess with the clock and drop in a few widgets on your lock screen if you want to. So the software is great, but you might be wondering about AI, because I don't know if you've noticed, but Nothing is one of the last big name smartphone companies that isn't heavily pushing a ton of AI stuff in their new phones. They don't have an AI image generator. They don't have a whole bunch of writing tools or AI summaries for notifications or Genmoji or anything like that. There is no object removal from
Genmoji,
photos.
that's what it's called.
Nothing. But there is one really interesting big new AI feature. So you see this here. They've added a single button to the side of the phone. It's actually a different shape than the other buttons. It's kind of dome shaped instead of flat, and it's right under the power button, so it's super reachable and you can't miss it. This is the AI button. If you double press it, it opens up the essential space, and this is an entire separate area of the phone just focused on making the AI helpful to the user. So here's what that means. Basically, you just save a bunch of stuff in here in the form of screenshots, and you can always come back here for referencing this stuff or finding information from the screenshots or even setting reminders about that stuff. So kind of think of it like the Pixel Screenshots app, but on steroids. So from anywhere you want on the phone, you can press that button once and it'll capture whatever's on your screen and save it. But then if you hold down that button, it will also start a voice recording that gets attached to that screenshot. So you can say something you want to remember, like, "This is the lawnmower Andrew told me about," or "Remind me to buy tickets to this concert tomorrow." And then that recording gets transcribed and summarized, and it will even detect and set actual reminders for you to do stuff with that information at a later date. I think that's an awesome start to something that could be really cool someday. It's still kind of being built out. I have this personal rule where I won't dump my life into something if it's not multi-platform. And this isn't, it's just on this phone, so there's no web version of this. I can't access this on my computer or a tablet or anything else like that. So I'm not gonna dive all in on something like this, but maybe someday in the future, could be cool. Or I could just ignore it completely and pretend it doesn't exist. You could too. Although I will say you are going to press this button accidentally a whole bunch of times. Now, both the 3A and 3A Pro have the same 5,000 milliamp hour battery and excellent battery life. Both have 50-watt charging now, which is a little faster than last year, but basically that's 0 to 100 in an hour. And they are both still missing wireless charging. So that's one of the stings that, for me, someone who's used to wireless charging on a bunch of phones, that's a tougher trade-off, but this is one of the things.
Wireless charging is still something that I'm not used to. I could live without it, to be honest with you. I have a Mophie, a dual wireless charger, but I rarely use it. I used to use it, but then it was just one of those things where you have to like align your phone perfectly. Even like I really used it for my AirPods because I could just set them down and boom. But I got AirPods on my last birthday, and they're smaller, and I have a case for them, and they can no longer they can still wireless charge. Well, they have wireless charging capabilities, but on my Mophie, it can't pick up wireless charging, and even without the case that I got for it, it won't pick it up for some reason. So, and well, I say some reason, the AirPods are smaller, so that's probably why the coils are probably smaller. So it's probably not really connecting with the coils that's within the Mophie pad itself. But I could live without wireless charging, honestly. I feel more comfortable with the cable anyway, because I know that I have a guaranteed charge when I wake up versus, oh, did this slip off in the middle of the night or whatever. So
that they've decided to stick with for nothing phones, although it is still pretty fast wired charging, so at least you have that. So the only difference you really need to know about is the cameras. The 3A Pro is the one theoretically you should want if you care more about cameras, and if you don't, then the 3A should be fine for you. That's on paper anyway. So I shot a bunch with the 3A and the 3A Pro cameras, and what was interesting is I didn't find a whole lot of difference in most situations between the primary cameras on these phones. Even though the sensor on the Pro is slightly bigger, they're both 50 megapixels, but the Pro has a little bit better autofocus. In general, the pictures from both of them are passable. You know, the sensor is big enough to get you a soft background for close-up subjects. The colors aren't too overprocessed, although you might get some fringing and overexposure, but generally they're pretty decent looking photos. The 8 megapixel ultra-wides are also identical, which is to say pretty meh. But the 3x periscope telephoto lens on the Pro definitely gives you a more usable far range and macros than the 2x on the 3A. So I love a good periscope zoom. I just think I was expecting to notice more of a difference between these two, given how dramatic of a difference this huge camera table makes. But it's not actually that big of a difference from my experience, so the more you know. So here's my final thoughts on this Nothing Phone refresh. First of all, as someone who just came from reviewing the iPhone 16e, this spec sheet on paper makes the iPhone 16e spec sheet on paper look terrible. This looks loaded. Obviously, it's triple cameras. It's a much bigger, brighter AMOLED display. It's high refresh rate. It's also a massive battery and great battery life, while you have 60 hertz and a smaller phone and, you know, a single camera on the 16e. And it's way cheaper. So just a lot of value here in general, which is what we expect from Nothing from the A series. But my other thought is I am now way more curious about Nothing Phone 3, like a genuine flagship from this company, because if they're able to make this for this value, I kind of wonder what a Snapdragon 8 Elite and a silicon carbide battery and maybe even wireless charging and a whole bunch more specs loaded into a phone like this could be, because they're so good at software already. I kind of hope we see something like that, hopefully soon. But speaking of soon, shout out to this video sponsor, Ridge.
Yeah, you try to get me. I was quick with that. I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. That was it. That's all the videos for YouTube that I have, that I saved on my watch for later to react to. But let's first of all, let me save this so that there's no problems. We're going to open a new project, and oh, there we go. I will switch screens in a sec. I just need to make sure that everything's... Oh, let me turn on my keyboard too. Oh, there we go. Back up a bit. Oh. Yes, sir. All right. Here we are in Logic. I don't really feel like making a song, so we'll just sound design for the time being. Maybe we might discover something cool in the process. Let's do something in Serum instead. Okay. Actually, let's go in Phase Plant instead. Let's have some real fun. Let's grab a wavetable and let's just go to Spectral. What I want to do is I want to process this channel to the point where any wavetable I pick, it will sound really good. So let's get distortion, kilohertz distortion, and let's get OTT. Let's even get Serum Effects. What I like to do in Serum Effects is soft clip, turn that up, and then get the EQ to boost the highs. Like that. And let's get another channel EQ. It's kind of crazy. I keep it like around 125 hertz to high pass. And just in case, soothe. Cool. So now we have a very really ready bass here. So let's put a filter and let's high pass it. Let's turn up the slope, but turn down the cutoff to about 125. Let's create a sub. I know that sub is... Wait. Oh, that's relatively where we want it. If I didn't have... It's really the, if I turn this off. We can do saturate, but then turn it down. That's equivalent. So that's just that wavetable. So... The thing is, once you add a sub to this question, there we go. So when the sub is overblown like that, like just put it down 50%, because your sub levels are still... And what you can do is you can go to OTT and just raise the sub levels a little bit. You can raise up your highs a little bit. So we can actually go back to the first one. This sounds a lot better. Boom. Come over. See, now these wavetables are alive. So let's just go ahead and save this guy. I already have a wavetable base patch. This would be wavetable base 2. The first one is Serum. That's followed by like a nice little macro here. So, and then wavetable base. This is in phase plant though. So there's that. So now we have wavetable base 2. I thought of something, like a little patch I can do, like, because if we take off all the processing, this is what it sounds like by itself. just bass ready. So this is like kind of like my little formula of post-processing. Serum effects with a soft clip distortion, drive at 100, and a little boost in the EQ on the high shelf. Then we have a kilohertz distortion, saturate at somewhere between 2 to 3 decibels on the drive, not that much. OTT with a depth of 29, time can go down to like 70%. A boost in the highs and a little bit of the lows. Soothe, 2 channel EQs, one that high passes the low end so the sub can stay mono. This is just to read the EQ. And just to make sure, if you add a separate sub in Faceplant, you can just keep it at 50% level, and I mean your sub is still present. Because if I put it up to 100%, like how it normally, the default level, it will pretty much drown out all of the mid and high information of the actual bass itself. We'll lose all that information. So, and I bet it probably sounds cleaner in the mix too. So we kind of saved this, so now we can do some stuff to it. Let's get a random and smooth, and let's put it on plus, and let's randomize the frame. This is the that's the master gain. Okay. Let's get an LFO. Let's change it to sync. And let's do a 1 bar. Let's do 2 bars off. And let's get another LFO sync mode. Oh. And let's do off. Or no, let's do infinite. Well, I could have just done 16th. And just did this. So, this is both in lane 1. I could put a filter. I could do like a filter thing. What I'm trying to do is create a like that. Let's get a filter. I'll probably put another filter here. Do like that. Take this, control the filter. And then take this and probably do this. Or This is mono, so we can turn on unison, turn up the spread to make this more stereo. We can change the wavetables to whatever we want. And that's just a few things. Let's see. Color Forge. We do the same thing if we cut this off and we do the same things here. Oh, that's just that. Let's see. We got some vital wavetables here. These are some Virtual Riot basses that I kind of, it's like different basses put together, chopped together, and then I made as a wavetable. Got some AU5 basses that I put together as wavetables. Oh, we can kind of make this slower. There's some nice harmonics in that one. Got some AU5's wavetables that he made. Got some Spectracomb wavetables that I made. From Spectracomb samples that I've made from my Spectracomb wavetables or sample pack. Regular spectral stuff from Serum as well. Subscribers pack. So that's all cool stuff. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Let's actually put this in lane 2. And let's go into Snap Heap and let's see. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, okay. I thought OBS crashed on me. It just kind of went away. Okay, we're good. I was just making sure. Why does it keep doing that? What does it want me to recognize here? That is so weird. Something's buggy. Something is bugging out. Why does it do that? What is it about? Uh, for some reason, every time I press the untitled thing to pick like to browse to see, you know, stuff, my view of OBS on my laptop just switches over to the desktop. And I mean, I'm still running, but it for some reason just doesn't want me to do that. So I don't know if it's a glitch of some sort. But it seems like I'm still running, so we'll just see what it does. Super delay. And let me come back here. Sci-fi effect. What is this now? Oh. What is this? What is this? What is this? There's a group. Oh, a format shifters. X, Y, Z, and the Q. Oh, so this is a side. Oh, I must have made this and didn't even realize it. Interesting. Let's you know what I'm saying? Like, let's kind of calm it down a bit. Cool. Spectral Jam. Already looked at those. these are some of the bases I've made like in the wavetable editor, like without lane 1. I have 0 favorites. We can look into I haven't really messed with these before. Let me turn off. That's unnecessary. Let's see. Oh, alien morph effect. Anyway, that's some of the few things here. But let's create one more thing. It's good. I thought of something the other day. Something to do with a sine wave creating like a pluck. But I can't remember exactly what I thought of. It was recent too. Let's turn the sustain down. Oh, obviously got post-processing. Turn that off. Let's see. What if I do another random, but just keep it? Really cool stuff here. Let's see. Let me do like a loop. Just to... Nice. Something like that. Something like that somewhere. Why can't you get it right? Okay. Let's just repeat. Let's just loop this. You know what? This is such a vibe. But that's it for tonight's stream. I know it's short, but I wasn't inspired to really make a new song, so that's why I only did reactions today. But this is something nice to vibe out to. I'm currently playing this in real time, like I'm pressing the keys. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Probably more reactions, but we'll see. But until next time, y'all take care and have a good night. Just jam out with me.